have now shifted the probe into the origins of the Russia collusion witch hunt. It is now officially a criminal investigation. This is a major, huge development. Finally, we might get to the truth, as we have been demanding for quite a while. Let me tell you what this means. That means the U.S. Attorney, John Durham, who has subpoena power, he has the ability to impanel a grand jury and file criminal charges in this case. This is a major development, literally breaking in the last few minutes. And this means that the suspect criminal activity, clearly the deep state, they are in a state of panic tonight, and it's getting obvious. They're desperately trying to get ahead of this story. And tonight, the deep state, their messengers at the Times, they have every reason to be afraid, every reason to panic, because Barr, the Attorney General, is now apparently getting closer to the truth, warranting this big development. And that's not all. Also breaking only moments ago, we learned the Inspector General's report on FISA abuse will soon, finally, be released to we, the people, the public, with very few redactions. We have more on these huge developments coming up all throughout the hour. Also, what I'm about to tell you is not a joke. Yes, Hillary Clinton is now apparently considering yet another run for the White House. That's right, you heard me correctly. One longtime Clinton advisor quoted as saying that a third presidential bid is not out of the question, and that his former boss would, quote, think long and hard about entering the race. I think the Trump campaign would probably be thrilled for that rematch. Wonder if she's going to pay for another Russian dossier. Wonder if she'll also have another secret server. Clinton was already humiliated once, losing it to the presidency in an electoral landslide. Since then, she's come up with a whole lot of excuses. Let's see, Russian bots, internet troll factories, Facebook ads, media coverage, Fox News, her emails, James Comey, even blaming the flashing videos on the dark web. And, of course, she blamed Russia collusion. And never mind the fact that it was her campaign that actually paid for the dirty Russian dossier. And, by the way, the DNC, we now know, was colluding with Ukraine. Look at this. Politico, January 11, 2017. For some reason, Hillary Clinton has yet to consider that voters just don't like her. She sees Russians everywhere, apparently. By the way, speaking of which, Democratic hopeful Tulsi Gabbard will join us today on this program. And as Hillary Clinton baselessly accused her of being groomed to be a Russian operative. Exonerated Fox News contributor Dan Bongino, Fox News correspondent at large Geraldo Rivera. Well, Geraldo, let me go to your legal mind. This is a big development as it relates to the origins of the witch hunt, because Durham will have the power to subpoena for witnesses, testimony, documents, and panel a grand jury and file criminal charges. This did not happen in a vacuum, Geraldo. You're too smart.
You can see hands shaking in D.C., night sweats pouring. I think there are a lot of people in the media establishment and in their allies in the Department of Justice who are trembling this night. It has finally come to this. You know, what goes around comes around. They savaged this president in a very unfair process. They started from even before he assumed office. They ravaged his inner circle. They made everybody in the West Wing paranoid and made snitches of all of them. Now, what has been a one-way street. It's been all about President Trump. He has defied them all. He has survived in office. Now it is time for those who falsely accused him to pay the piper, Sean. This is a gigantic development. This is the beginning of a sea change, I believe.
Well, I mean, Lindsey Graham's, his resolution, Dan, is saying, we see the circus run by a compromised chairman that's involved in a witch hunt, who himself is a material witness in the whole thing. We're not going along with you not giving due process to a sitting president. It's too serious. And they're preempting anything these guys might be thinking of doing. That's huge. Then this Durham issue is even bigger. And then you can add to that, we're finally going to get the FISA report. Yep. Thank goodness. Prayers are going to be answered. We've been waiting.
Yeah. Yeah, Sean, they need this impeachment right now because, you know, John Brennan is wearing a pair of adult Depends right now. And why? I mean, think about it, right? John Brennan is on tape, Sean. On tape, on video. You can all see it, acknowledging publicly he hadn't seen the dossier till December. Remember that? Well, Sean, that's not possible. Because in August, John Brennan briefs Harry Reid and the Democrats up on the Hill, and the information he briefs them on, Sean, mysteriously, for the liberals listening, August, December. August is before December, right? That information in Harry Reid's letter pursuant to his briefing by Brennan that Harry Reid sends to the FBI, where's it from, Sean? That's right. It's only in the dossier that Brennan claims he hadn't seen till December. So for the liberals watching again, August is before December. And that's why Brennan's freaking out with his adult depends right now, because he realized he's on record lying the entire time. He was the founder of the feast in this whole thing. I believe he even lied to FBI agents about where he was getting this information from. He constructed a parallel construction operation to get the FBI to investigate a guy he had no law enforcement powers to operate against. The facts are clear as day on this. Even the FBI, Lisa Page, the lawyer, in sworn testimony to Mark Meadows answering a question, seems floored at the idea that Brennan and his CIA may have been talking to Steele before that. They are freaking out right now, and Durham's doubling down, and good for them.
And one other point on that, Sean, if I may, one other point. Remember in the Mueller report, this was the most hostile power, legal power, unlimited legal power to get every fact, every circumstance about the president. Yeah. Mueller found, as a matter of fact, that no spy for the Russians, our president-elect, was a traitor. He was guilty of treason. He was Putin's bitch. And now we know that that's not true. Now it's all going to swing back to those who falsely accuse the president.
Geraldo, I got to go. You're a wordsmith. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Thank you both. All right. When we come back, Rush is fired up. Him going after Never Trumpers. You want to see this takedown next. All right, Rush Limbaugh coming out swinging against Never Trumpers for their outrage over the president calling them human scum. Take a look.
So many Never-Trumpers. Oh, so many Republicans, so many in the drive-by media, so distressed, so upset because Donald Trump happened to say that Republican Never-Trumpers are a bunch of scum. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. The Republic may not serve. The president called some Republicans scum. Stop and think what Trump has been called. Stop and think of what you've been called. You're called a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe every day for 30-plus years. You're called all kinds of horrible, rotten stuff every day by the media. And so are the people you elect, and so are the people you represent. Donald Trump has been called a traitor. He's been called a pig. He's been called an ogre. And he calls people who betray him scum. Oh, my God. Oh, God. Country may not survive. Oh, my God. You see, in the normal ebb and flow of things, I can understand. I wish he hadn't said scum. But, folks, these are not normal times, and I dare say that none of these people who are telling Trump how to act and trying to define standards of decorum for him, I doubt that any of them could tolerate over a week what he puts up with.
Great point, Rush. And I'll add one thing. You know what? They would just help elect the Elizabeth Warren type. Great job, guys. Mitt Romney, where are you? Everyone supported you. Big news. We now have 46 people signing Lindsey Graham's resolution condemning the House of Representatives, their unfair closed-door impeachment process. We have this big breaking news, in fact, that John Durham is now, because of the prosecution, at the power to subpoena witnesses' testimony documents to a panel of grand jury filed criminal charges. And lastly, yes, we also have the issue of the Pfizer reports finally coming. And guess what? It's going to explain a lot about Durham tonight. Laura Ingram's next. Let not your heart be troubled. Laura.
Hannity, first of all, Rush rocks. Okay, number one.
That was great. That was really good.
Love him. Number two, could you somehow get word through an intermediary to John Durham and just say, we want a different